Alright class, now we are going to chapter 6, sampling distribution. Okay, look at 6.1, parameter and statistic. Okay, what is parameter? Okay, it is a measure obtained by all data values from a population. Okay, while statistic is a measure obtained by the data values from a sample. That means, okay, let's say this is parameter. Okay, that parameter, that means is a measure obtain all data values from population. What is statistic? The data values is from sample. Okay, what is the difference parameter and statistic is about the symbol. Okay, let's say sample size. For parameter, the sample size with symbol capital N. Okay, capital N. For statistic, with symbol small letter n. Okay, and then for mean, okay, for mean, we use the symbol mu. For parameter, for statistic, we use x bar. Okay, what about variance? We use sigma square. For statistic, we use S square. Okay, standard deviation. For parameter, we use sigma. For statistic, we use S. Okay, symbol there. Okay, for proportion. Okay, proportion. We use P for parameter. Okay, it is related, P ni, proportion ni related with the binomial. Okay, which is probability of success. Okay, for statistic, we use P hat. Okay, this is the difference between parameter and statistic. Okay, parameter, the data values from a population. Okay, we use this symbol. Okay, for statistic, the data values from sample, we use this symbol. Okay, so look at 6.2. Okay, 6.2, sampling distribution of mean. The probability distribution of x bar, okay, x, that means sample mean, is called sampling distribution of the mean. Okay, we call it as sampling distribution of the mean. It lists the various values that sampling distribution of the mean can assume and the probability of each value of sampling distribution of the mean. Okay, when all possible samples of a specific size are selected with replacement from a population, the distribution of the sample means for a variable has three important properties. Okay, look at number 1. The mean of the sample mean will be the same as the population mean. Mean of the sample mean. Okay, this symbol, mean of the sample mean. Mean of the sample mean. Okay, it is equal mean of the population. Okay, the standard deviation, look at number 2. The standard deviation of the sample mean is called the standard error of the mean, and it will be equal to the population standard deviation divided by the square root of the sample size. Okay, that means when we have the mean of the sample, okay, mean of the sample, it also have the standard deviation of the sample mean, and it is equal standard deviation of the population divided by square root sample size. Okay, and then number 3. Okay, number 3, wait. Okay, so what I want to explain is, okay, sampling distribution. Okay, sampling distribution, that means we need to find the probability of the sample from population. Okay, sampling distribution, it means we need to find the probability of the sample. Okay, we need to find the probability of the sample from population. Okay, from population. Okay, and then the distribution from which we are sampling is normal distribution with mean and standard deviation. Okay, that means the sampling, okay, the distribution from which we are sampling is normal distribution. We know that normal distribution, the graph will be like this, right? Okay, normal distribution, that means we are the probability of the population. Okay, so let's say this is graph from normal distribution. Okay, and then the mean is at the symmetric, okay, mean of the population. And awak tahu tak kat mana standard deviation? Okay, kalau sebelum ni kita belajar for normal, we have X having normal with mean and variance, and then we use the formula Z, it is equal X minus mean divided by standard deviation. So we know that mean kat symmetric ni. Where is standard deviation? Standard deviation dekat sini. Okay, standard deviation kat sini. Ni standard deviation from the population. But when we need to find the probability of the sampling, okay, that means we take the samples from the population. We take the samples from the population if, okay, if we take n is the sample size, okay, if we take n equals to 2, the graph of the population will be changed, will be like this. Okay, if we take n equals to 4, that means we take sample, okay, sample from the population, okay, if we take 4, the graph will be like this. Okay, if we take the samples n equals to 8, let's say we take 8, the graph will be like this. So as you can see this, okay, the bigger the sample size that we take, the smaller the standard deviation, the smaller the value of the standard deviation. Standard deviation ni, semakin mengecil standard deviation dia. And then if n equals to 8, semakin mengecil standard deviation dia. Okay, that is why, okay, we need to find the standard deviation of the sample mean by using formula. Nak cari standard deviation of the sample mean by using formula standard deviation of the population divided by square root n. If we take sample n is 2, that means standard deviation of the sample mean is standard deviation divided by square root 2. If we take n equals to 4, standard deviation from the sample mean, it is equal standard deviation of the population divided by square root 4. This one also, n equals to 8. Okay, substitute 8 into n. Okay, standard deviation of the population will be given from the question. Okay, so that is why sampling the standard deviation of the sample mean, we use this formula. But mean of the sample mean, it is equal mean of the population. Why? Because it is stick. Okay, it is stick the same with the symmetry at the mean of the population. Dia still kekal dekat mean of the population. Cumanya yang berubah adalah standard deviation dia saja. Okay, the bigger the sample size that we take from the population. Okay, the bigger the sample size that we take from the population, the smaller the standard deviation dia. So we need to find the value for standard deviation of the sample mean by using this formula. Okay, standard deviation of the population divided by square root n. Okay, you faham lah? So for rule number 3 tu, properties number 3 tu, that means we have to use the formula by using Z. Okay, Z, it is equal sample mean minus mean of the sample mean divided by standard deviation of the sample mean. But we know that the standard deviation of the sample mean yang ni, okay, standard deviation divided by square root n. So the standard deviation of the sample mean is standard deviation of the population divided by square root n. This is formula to find the Z value. And then from Z value, we can find the probability using table statistic. Okay, you faham lah? And then look at the sampling distribution of proportion. Okay, sampling distribution of the proportion. Konsep dia sama macam ni juga. Graf dia sama macam ni konsep dia. For proportion. Okay, 6.3. Okay, konsep dia sama juga macam ni. That means, okay, tengok notes tu. Just like the sample mean, the sample proportion, okay, we call as p hat, is a random variable. Hence, it possesses a probability distribution which is called sampling distribution. So the mean, look at number 1, the mean of the sample proportion is equal to the population proportion P. Okay, when we need to find the mean of the sample proportion, it is equal the population proportion P. P is, okay, sampling distribution of proportion ni relate with the binomial. Okay, that means P ni adalah probability of success. Okay, dia relate dengan binomial. Cumanya konsep dia sama macam sampling distribution of the mean. Dia sama saja. Okay, so to find the standard deviation for proportion, it is equal P times Q divided by N, and then you have to square it. P is what? P is probability of success, Q is probability of failure, and then N is sample size. So, standard deviation of proportion ni, we need to use this formula. Okay, dia sama saja konsep macam ni. That means, the bigger the sample size that we take, the smaller the value of the standard deviation. Okay, so it's same concept. And then we use formula Z. It is equal P hat minus P. Okay, P is probability of success divided by standard deviation for proportion. Okay, standard deviation from sample proportion. And then we know that standard deviation sample proportion, this one, the square root of P times Q divided by N. So, it is divided by square root P times Q divide N. Okay, same concept. Sama je ada punya formula. Cumanya sampling distribution of proportion ni kita just go through saja. Saya tak nak tekankan sangat. Okay, yang saya nak tekankan adalah sampling distribution of the mean. Okay, boleh faham dah? Kalau tak faham boleh tanya dah outside. Okay.